Hey guys, this is GG Magic, and this is my Ngamahu's guide to Flame Burst. So, if you guys have been paying attention to any of the unique reveals, one of the cool ones was Ngamahu's Flame, and that's this guy right here. It's an amazing weapon. Like, this is definitely what I like to see. Unique items, build defining, just really cool in general. Um, so, to the build, essentially, it's all about Flame Burst. Ngamahu's Flame is basically all about Flame Burst. It gives you the ability to cast a level 16 Molten Burst on melee hit. Sorry, Molten Burst. 20% chance. So, what's the point? Why? So, Molten Burst is essentially Molten Strike, but in the form of an on-hit like type thing. This is its own inner cooldown. You can actually see a little bit more of this right here in your tooltip. If you go here at the end, it'll say Molten Burst. So here, it'll explain essentially. Here, if you see at the attack time spot, it'll say 0.40 seconds in between. Now, just to clarify, I'm trying this out still, so kind of changing and testing things. This is more of like an early iteration of the build, but I did change some of the links. Now, let's just explain the idea. The links the sockets in here will link to Molten Burst no matter what. You don't need to link the sockets. So, first off, weapon elemental damage, because elemental damage, and more. Never forget the more. Life gain on hit. This is a cool one. I'll talk about that. GMP. Increased AoE, and the cool one, faster attacks, because the interaction between faster attacks and Molten Burst is that it actually lowers the attack time. So I believe that means the internal cooldown of Molten Burst is shorter, because if I say take it off here, and I'll show you this, it's 0.51. So that I think is a good idea. It can be replaced probably. I mean, 0.11 seconds of time is really not a big deal, but that's kind of why life on hit is here. So 36 life is gained per ball of Molten. But the way it says, for each enemy hit by the attack, that means that one ball, say hits 3 people, that's 36 for each person per one ball. So you're potentially getting ridiculous amounts by how many of them you hit. And again, the Molten Burst, if it's the same thing as, like, say, Molten Strike, Molten Burst doesn't chain. It doesn't fork. It is a projectile, so Iron Grip, physical projectile damage support can work on it. All these other great things. It does shotgun, so like if you want to go with point blank, you can. But yeah, that's really all there is about this one. So beyond that, the move I decided to go with is Sweep. So Sweep is really cool. It's my first time using it. I love the skill. Now, the thing behind Sweep is that there's kind of a idea that Sweep's really cool. I like it. This is the one I personally enjoy. Some people prefer Cyclone. Cyclone is also really good. Doesn't matter. Go with what you like. Arguably, Cyclone is probably better because it has more attacks and you can't be stunned during it. And of course, Sweep has its perks with knocking people back X, Y, and Z. Anyways, there's multi-strike, faster attacks, weapon LE damage, and increased AoE. So, if Sweep is already good by itself and already good with staves, why would you do it with Molten Burst? Well, obviously for style points, but the real point here is in our passive tree, you'll see we're Chieftain. So, each of these fire damage nodes mean a lot more, mostly because we have the Avatar of Fire. Like I kind of said, Ngamahu's Flame gives you 50% conversion for fire, or for fizz to fire. Here's the other 50, meaning that all fire damage nodes on our tree, elemental damage on our tree, melee physical damage, and two-handed axe damage on our tree is what gives us damage. So as you can see, that's kind of where I'm going here. I picked up LA Overload. We are not going crit. I mean, I was running Resolute Technique to level, but no big deal. So yeah, generally, the idea here is protecting yourself, life gain on hit, leeching that fire damage, 100% fire damage, with Minocor's Death's Fury, and essentially not dying. You'll see in a video that I'm going to be attaching to this for at the very end of the video, there's going to be me kind of showing you how this build works. Just kind of a test run. It's going to be lake, so nothing crazy. But the idea here is you're leeching, and you're killing, you're knocking back. It's very defensive, but also very offensive. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. The rest of the stuff is just like Lava Lash for the penetration. That's really good. So actually, penetration is a huge part of this build, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. So since you're doing all fire damage, that sucks in a way, because you know, why would you do any type of anything if you're not just going to go Inquisitor or Elementalist? So right here, Lava Lash is 8%. This is 20%. Flammability lowers resists. Oh, where did I put it? By 40%. And there's some uniques I'm going to talk about that can help with that too. Especially when you get into higher maps, you can't really have them resisting all your damage because it's all fire. So yeah, so generally we're using Sweep and then Leap Slam. So yeah, Leap Slam's here with Fortify. Fortify always helps. You can really go with whatever you want. I mean, I say Leap Slam with Fortify is fine. Some people probably will go with Blood Magic or something. Whatever. That's, you know, this is not the part of the build that matters. Ancestral War Chief. I was using it for leveling, but actually it's pretty cool. I'm just gonna keep it until it starts to suck. Enduring Cry. So we're gonna be running tons of endurance charges. And just to kind of give you an idea, as far as endurance charges go, there is. I'm so prepared right now. Oh, it's right here. Comb Sign. Comb Sign is amazing. Obviously, Comb's Way is even better if you can get a Comb's Way. That's prophecy based. Comb Sign is going to give you one more endurance charge, and because on the passive tree we took this one right here, life regen by 0.2% per endurance charge. This is going to boost our health regen by quite a bit, and if you can get a Comb Sign, it's going to be even better because Comb Sign has a very similar passive on it per endurance charge. So yeah, there's many ways to kind of optimize your defensive stats, but the idea here is using Molten Burst, just running through things, leeching insane amounts of fire damage, and just, you know, doing things that Marauders do. So that's kind of it. I'm probably going to do another update of this when I start getting more into maps. I barely got to Dried Lake, so I'll probably show a little bit more later. This runs really well in Breach League, mostly because when you're in a breach fight, and like say, essentially it starts in the middle and it grows, right? There's a couple of some breaches are really chill, other breaches are like they just run at you from all directions, and you're surrounded. And being a caster from in that standpoint, it sucks. The thing I like about Sweep is that you're sitting in the middle and you're sweeping and everything's getting knocked away, and they get stuck in the spot where they take the damage but aren't knocked away. Cool thing is that you're in the middle, totally safe from anything that can't be knocked back, or that can be knocked back, and then your Molten Bursts are coming off on the edges. So physically wise, awesomely defensive. And then sometimes you have some situations where you get spells thrown at you. There's, obviously endurance charges, resists help with that, but the build's very tanky, so you're really leeching a ton of damage. So I'll show you guys some gameplay in a bit, but first, if anything, I do want to show you guys a good unique you can go with. This is probably one of my favorite uniques. It not only does it look really cool, but the Formless Inferno, it gives you a minus 30%. This is very reminiscent of like Lightning Coil and stuff. But what it does is it gives you a ton of armor, and that's not just through its just random 80 to 120 increased armor, but its bottom stat is armor is increased by uncapped fire resistance. I actually, the way I understand this, and I could be wrong, I mean, if you guys have probably checked this, if you saw a couple of the uniques in the beginning, somebody else may have confirmed this, but essentially what I think happens is that generally just all your fire resistance up to your maximum, so let's say I have like 131 fire resistance in all, that would be my increased armor, which is nice. That's like 200 something increased armor on this item alone. Yeah, mediocre life roll on here. And probably the best part, the 8% of your physical damage is just taken as fire. And as you guys know, like Lightning Coil and stuff like that, that's good because that means that 8% of all physical damage you take converted to fire, which you only take 25% of, or 24 in our case, that's really where it starts. So yeah, this is great to go with. You really don't want to have too many uniques, as we all know, but I'm actually gonna want to try to wear a lot, just because there are a lot of good ones for fire, and fire is meta right now, so whatever. Um, and then we have Xoph's Amber Amulet. This one's cool, mostly because it's gonna segue into what we're using next. Now, this is the I think the probably the best part about this is that no one's talking about knocking away enemies. This is gonna help with the ranged ones. When the ranged ones hit you, you're gonna be able to splash ash on them, meaning that they're weaker to fire. They are unable to hit you as often. You really can't go wrong with that. It gives you resistances, gives you life, gives you increased fire damage, which is so good for this build. But once you've used it, it will actually, you upgrade it. No, here's the thing. You don't have to use this one, but if you're not going to use this one, upgrade it. And upgrade it into this guy. This is like build defining. Now the cool thing about this is that not only does it give avatar fire to people who are not on this side of the tree, the cool thing about Xoph's Blood is you don't have to take it on our tree, which means that you can save a couple of points, use it for something else, add life, damage, whatever. And here's the best part, or one of the best parts. The damage penetrates 10% res. Huge, really good. The res penetration, there's a lot going around on this build. Because, when you're only dealing with type of damage, it's always good to penetrate most of it. We still have this covers enemies in Ash, the Avatar Fire, which we spoke about. So you can't go wrong with this one. And here's probably my favorite part. And it seems almost out of place in a way, but the fact, what am I doing? The 10% increased strength, which is, you really can't go wrong with that. You can even run an Iron Grip build with this if you wanted. That'd be cool. I've already confirmed that they do actually scale with it. The damage tip goes up. And then the increased max life. So this is amazing. Life builds hopefully are coming back. CI's stupid. It's already, CI is good. What can I say? But this is going to help with us. And then this fire resistance, what I was going to say is, what's cool is that let's say you get like a mid roll of 30%, it just totally negates this here. And obviously with a rare or whatever, you get better than all of this, but what you sacrifice in a rare, you are gaining this special 8% mitigation and the savings nodes here, more penetration. I'm sorry. The more penetration and the obvious 10% increased strength and maximum life. A rare is not going to do that for you, dude. I had a cool rare back then that did something like Astra Menace, but no, nothing's going to do it like this. So yeah, those are some pretty cool uniques. But in all, I'll let you guys watch me murk some Dried Lake. Super hard content, I know. Let me know how you feel about it. Thanks for watching.